guys are in the process of studying this tome. If you want to practice with the pistol, there's, Mr. Tor provides you. Vincenzo, he's an expert pistol. He can take you out back and help you train. But Mr. Tor lets you know that the female that you guys were tracking, this woman that was associated with Brunner, Sophia Becker. That's her actual name. We tracked her pretty successfully. After she got to Morocco, apparently there's some big meeting in Morocco in about 6 months. She's actually taking this trip through
I'm sorry, Lee, you cut out badly there. So you said there's the big meeting in Morocco and something about a trip?
Yeah, apparently there's going to be a large meeting, some type of meeting in Morocco in about 6 months.
Okay.
In the meantime, she's going on a safari through southern Africa. And so they have an agent actually on the safari, right, tracking her. But it would appear like we have some time. We know where she is. It doesn't look like there's anything that's going to happen until this meeting in Morocco. It was a coded message.
Okay, so we think that Sophia Becker, she's part of the inner circle of these bastards, right?
Absolutely, yeah. She was definitely closely associated with Brunner. And the stuff that you found in her office, the Latin book and the crazy sculpture.
Yeah, regarding that Latin book,
yes.
Latin, we had that translated by Chang's men, I think, right?
Actually, Chang speaks and writes Latin, so yeah, he was able to translate it for you. And
and I'm having trouble kind of remembering what was in that book and what we found in it.
Yeah,
I don't think I had any notes on it.
It was about the worship of this, the goat of the woods. That's what it dealt with, this fertility god, this dark fertility god. Kind of what it spoke about in generalities,
Okay.
Nothing too specific, but it's basically about some dark fertility god.
And I have that it was a vellum manuscript, leather bound, 100 pages. Do we know how old this is?
It looks like it's probably from maybe the 15th or 16th century.
Okay.
Definitely European.
Any kind of mythos knowledge in it?
There could be. You'd have to study it.
Okay.
Down and study it. It wouldn't take 22 weeks. It would probably take, since it's a much smaller volume, I think it would probably take like 3 weeks.
I'm sorry, you said it talked about the black goat of the woods in it, right? So there's...
It does, yeah, it does. It does talk about some dark fertility god. The dark...
Something we might want to know more about.
The goat.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it has that spell
Does
in it.
anybody speak Latin in the group?
Chang does. Mm-hmm.
We've had it translated.
Translated.
Yep.
Okay.
So
it has Vor's sign in it. Okay, cool. That's what I was missing. All right, let me copy these book notes in here too. I've been just kind of taking notes sporadically across my character sheet in the investigator journal. I'm going to try to put everything in the investigator journal here.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's possible to make a separate file under the investigator journal that that I could use?
We can all use the investigator journal. We can create your own journal if you like.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be great if I could be a public document that's under the investigator journal that I can. Well, I
Yep.
guess you can't. It has to. There's like a folder. I see, where it says 1960s Pulp. That's a folder, and that can contain other documents.
Yeah, well, we've got
Okay.
the investigator journal out there. That's everybody can use that. What I'm going to do, Harry, is I'm just going to
Yeah,
put,
but
I'm
if
going to
you
make.
write to it at the same time, then you overwrite each other's
You can
changes and
though.
stuff.
Yeah, that is the thing. What I'll do though is I'll make a new handout. Just title it Zhang's Journal that you can just use for notes if you like.
Okay, that'd be great.
That's perfect. Thing's take on the insanity.
All right, there we go. It's there by the investigator's journal.
How Zhang went insane.
Right. Let's be Zhang.
So, do you find that you run out of space for documents and pictures and things under Roll20, or is that not really a problem?
It's not a problem because I have just a basic membership. It's like $5 a month,
Right.
and they give you like 3 or 4 gigabytes of space, which is more than enough for images
Okay.
and stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah, I had a subscription for a while, and I don't now.
Yeah, even without a subscription, there's enough space to run a game for sure. You don't need a subscription.
Yeah.
But
No.
I've got
When I
like
was
4 or
using
5.
it, I wanted to help them out.
But I've got like 4 or 5 campaigns through 3 different games. I've got tons of files in here.
Mm.
So, Mr. Tor approaches you guys, and I think Jane, you gave him your bow staff, right, to bless.
Yes,
Is that correct? And
I did.
Julia,
Or he did.
Do you have something like that, or do you want Mr. Tor to supply you with a iron?
I think I do.
Or
I think I would like a
one.
Let me look at the weapon table for a second here.
Yeah. I'm gonna go grab a drink, guys. Just give me a second.
My specialization is nunchucks, but I'm gonna look at blades here because I could use like a smaller blade. If I fight brawl, it'd be nice to have a little dagger or a dirk or something, or maybe even like a machete, a blessed machete. That would be good. Yep, a machete.
All right. I'm looking at her picture there and thinking of her waving this weapon.
Yeah.
Love the hair. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, that's 1970. Totally, dude.
Right.
Whose hair are we talking about?
Juliet. Shang is admiring Juliet's hair.
It's to be admired.
So, Sean, you probably should repeat yourself. I think Lee was off for.
Yeah, I took a look, Lee, and I think I would like a some sort of machete type implement.
Sure.
That will do.
So yeah, Mr. Tor, would you like to watch the ceremony? weapons. He's like, come to the courtyard tonight at midnight.
She says, do I have to?
Oh, you don't have to.
Okay. I think maybe... What is this ceremony, Mr. Tor?
Oh, there's sacrifice under the moonlight.
Sacrifice?
Animal sacrifice. Don't worry, not people.
Oh, animal sacrifice. I mean, like chickens?
No, like it's got to be a large animal. Usually we use like a large steer.
Oh, God. I think I think I'll probably be sleeping by that time, Mr. Tor. I'm sorry. If it's okay, I think I'll sit out of the ceremony.
And so you guys opt out, but sure enough, later on, about 1 o'clock, you're awoken in the middle of the night. There's like a
bellowing,
screaming bull. Yeah.
The crack of lightning and a screaming steer.
Wow.
And then it happens again. Sure enough, the next day, he brings you back your weapons. These will definitely affect otherworldly creatures now.
Yeah, Juliet just thinks to herself, well, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, so you see your staff now has like a silver, it's capped with silver caps on each end, and there's like silver rivets embedded in it, Jang.
Okay, perfect.
The machete's nice. It's iron, but it's nice, man. It's got a good handle on it. It's got a nice leather sheath.
All right, cool. I'll put that to use.
So also, during this time frame, now if you're not studying,
blessed by Dr. Tor.
Yeah, if you're not studying this tome, you'll have a chance to 2 different skills, or you could roll twice for the same skill. You're going to be working on your pistol.
Yeah, go for it, Harry. I'm gonna be spending all my time trying to read this book, I think.
Well, to work on, you'll be able to roll for 1 characteristic, Sean, or start on another one if you want. But
okay.
We give okay. So what's your handgun, Harry? 26.
Or just concentrate on the book. His firearms skill is a 26.
Okay, so roll that. Very good. All right, roll 1 to 10. Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Well, that's pretty good. All right.
Nice.
That's what you get for. That's what happens when you're training with the Sicilian assassin.
Yes.
Vincenzo is no joke.
I guess so.
Yeah, he's good. Okay, roll again.
Yes, I can show you how to shoot.
The Sicilian way.
Oh, nice. The 1 to 10.
Okay. All right, very good.
And hold
So
on.
that's a 38.
I can see Vincenzo now. He's like, all right, you want to shoot him in the back of the head, right? So you take these using a watermelon. So you take him around the neck like this, right? And then you make sure your gun's not cocked too early, right? So,
Yeah, the real trick is to invite him to like a card game and have someone standing behind the door.
Right. Helps if they're a little drunk.
You shoot him in the back of the head with the 22. You wrap the towel, and then the guy in front stabs him in the heart with the ice pick, so the heart stops. Anyways, kinds of advice. But you get an additional 8 points from his tutelage.
Okay.
Good. He likes the Walther, but he's like, you should really shoot a Beretta. Yourself a Beretta.
Okay. He'll definitely take his instructor's advice.
He gives you one. It's a beautiful black Beretta, semi-automatic 9mm. Here, you take this. You use it. What score does that give you now, Harry? What's your handgun out?
He's got a 46.
Okay, cool.
That's pretty darn good.
Okay,
And
Sean.
he's gone through a lot of ammunition.
So there's plenty to be had here. Ammo's not a problem at the villa.
He's trying to figure out how to knit something out of the shell case.
Yeah, imagine Mr. Tor has a complete armory somewhere.
So, Sean, do you have a skill that you want to try working on while you're here? I mean, you can do one.
Yeah, actually, seeing the terrain on this island / archipelago or whatever it is here, I'm gonna practice some climbing up there.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. There's definitely some decent spots to do some climbing.
Yep, I added a few points initially, so I'm at 30. So you just want me to roll for it?
Yeah, roll.
I got a hard success.
Roll again.
I got a regular success.
Oh, God.
I'm much better at climbing than I thought.
Use some luck to fail.
Yeah.
Can we reverse engineer that?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, now I've climbed up the mountain. Can I climb back down now? I'm just kidding. No, those rolls were just too good. A 14 and an 18.
Apparently, it's just too easy.
It is.
It's not challenging enough. It's just
Right.
not challenging enough for you.
Yeah, I'm a much better climber than I thought I was. I'm satisfied with that.
So,
Overconfident now.
Yeah.
So one day, it's probably the next day, he's practicing with his pistol. Juliet, you're standing there, and Mr. Tor walks up. He's like, "Oh, hey, let's have a little. I don't know where your friends are. They're out doing something. Let's have a little lunch."
Oh,
So
certainly, Mr. Tor.
Leads you over. You guys sit down. He's like, "So, of course, we can talk with your other party members too, but since you guys are here, your other friends are fucking off doing something stupid. What do you think for the next phase of this mission? Do you guys want to be paid? And obviously, this is going to entail you probably going to Morocco. I'm sure the experience will be similar to the one you had in Martin's Beach." He laughs. He's like, and then there's the issue with the Ravalatis. I mean, they did try to kill you.
Well, Mr. Tor, you've been so
What
generous. You've been so generous thus far. I'm confident that whatever you offer will be sufficient. And I'm out there. I got my big floppy sun hat and my oversized sunglasses on, smoking a cigarette in a cigarette holder.
Jane, thoughts?
Ask for $1 million, Shang.
I want $1 million in cash. 5 high-class prostitutes right now.
Yeah, I see him kind of as the kind that would just, give his money away. He's sort of standing there dreamily thinking of the prospects of going to Morocco.
Well, I think, probably, double the fee, since you guys have proven yourselves. So you're in for the long haul. So I think probably $100,000 up front. You guys want, and then $100,000 on completion.
His eyes are big as saucers.
Yeah, Juliet almost chokes on her wine. really coolly, she's just like, "Oh, well, that would be quite sufficient, Mr. Tor."
Sure, you speak for the rest of your party. Sure, they'll okay with
Well,
this arrangement.
might not hurt to ask them. I think earlier I saw Dr. Humperdinck downstairs oiling his chainsaw. He's around here somewhere. He had this really strange look in his eyes. I asked him how he was doing, and he just stared at me.
He's quite a character.
Yeah,
Quite a character. The surgeons and the doctors tend to be a little eccentric, especially if they're into the pharmacology.
Yes,
That
must have something to do with it.
He's like, but almost every doctor that I've dealt with that's worth a damn is usually shooting speed or doing coke or something like that. So he's
and I really
he's
think
right
that
there.
someone should say something to Aloysia about his drinking. I say just nonchalantly, as I sip my wine.
Yeah, those Russians definitely like their vodka.
Well, I found him passed out in the hallway last night. I mean, not surprising considering current events, but
Yeah, it's good. It's good you guys can take a little rest here and recoup and do some studying and get ready for the next phase. Avalatis.
What
Yeah.
are the Ravala?
So those are the gentlemen that attacked you in Boston.
so
They're a mafia family. They're a Camorra group. They have some presence in New York. Really, they're located in southern Italy.
How would they have come to know about us and that we have the book, do you think?
It's possible that Brunner or Becker have some connection. The underworld, they must have some underworld connections, and or some sort of go-between. They're able to hire them. Guys.
well, why would they think, or at least say that this book was theirs? Did they own the book at one time?
Probably speaking for their clients.
Oh, I see.
Right. I would say probably what happened was word came down from the continent. Since these people seem to have a pretty big organization, it's actually in North Africa, it would seem logical. I mean, these groups do have some business in Morocco as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pretty established drug trade that runs from North Africa into Sicily and into Italy. Mafia groups and Camorra groups, vie for that. So it's possible that they have those connections from Morocco.
So we could very well encounter these Ravalati folks again at some point.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd be surprised if they're not, associated with this group in some way, because getting involved in other people's business, that's unusual. So there must be some deeper connection in this group and this particular mafia organization. But again, that would make sense, because if they're operating in North Africa, this particular Camorra organization has a relatively large presence in North Africa.
Yeah, but as far as their involvement with this cult, we just don't know who the head of the snake is, basically.
I'd say they probably are just muscle.
Expendables.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, it's yet to be seen. I mean, it's possible. I mean, there are certain mafioso that have engaged in occult activities. That's not unknown either. But my initial reaction would be they're probably hired. Okay. Kind of like you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We have a problem. Here's some money. Go deal with this. Well, maybe more investigation will reveal a deeper connection.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. Tor, outside of your organization and outside of our group, who knows about these matters? I mean, do we have any kind of, say, government officials, intelligence assets, anything like that, that may have an inkling of what's actually going on here? Or is this something that you've kept secret for so long?
There are other organizations that have existed that are aware of these and cults and creatures.
Yeah, well, obviously
Past.
this goes way back into history from what I'm reading in this book.
Yeah, there's always been individuals who have been aware and have fought against creatures and this type of activity. From it, there is a small segment of the government intelligence community that is aware.
What is the end game here, Mr. Tor? What is their goal? What do you think it is?
This particular group,
Is it really have to do with something about forming a Fourth Reich?
it would seem so. It would seem like this group of Nazis managed to escape. At least some segment of them indoctrinated into this kind of occult belief, and it looks like some of them have actually attained through the type of book that you guys acquired.
Mm-hmm.
And it would definitely appear like they've been doing this for quite a while. In other words, aka Miller, I mean, for him to actually figure out about this particular archaeology site and actually fake his ID, get in there, obviously they've been working on this, and I think some of the information you guys uncovered, at least in the Cult of Ghoules, that last section, aggression,
Mm-hmm.
well, and then turning into this dead.
What do you think they're looking for in Morocco?
Again, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we only had the message that they recovered something there, right?
Yeah,
But
they might be. I mean, it sounds like they're trying to increase their power.
And we're supposed to stop them.
Yes.
It just astounds me, having worked for the CIA and MI6, that I've never heard anything like this.
Well, like I said, there are community that are aware of this, but
I just feel like
everything's compartmentalized.
I just feel like I'm almost in this perpetual state of shock. I take another sip of wine. That thing that we saw, it was evil, she says.
Or says, well, it's like being shot at. It never gets any better. Being shot at, right? It's a horrible feeling, and no matter how many times it happens, it's never right. And this is very similar. Seeing these otherworldly, and it's never often have the same thoughts. Even after dealing with this for many, many years. To myself, is this real?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
It's just also very surreal. Just being here with you, Mr. Tor, just seems very surreal to me now. I think our group could use a little recovery time here to sort of sort things out. And from what I've learned from this book so far, I think we may find some information in the book that could be very helpful for us. Considering your knowledge of these things, I hope you wouldn't mind if I consult you every now and then regarding what I find in the book.
Absolutely. Yeah. Chang and I are always available for consulting, and Chang also is very knowledgeable. He's been around as long as I have.
How long has that been, Mr. Tor?
A little while. He chuckles.
A little while, man! Okay.
But yeah, I think it's good you guys have a little chance to recover. But of course, tome, there can be repercussions. So we'll see how everybody handles that.
So, do we know who's? I mean, is it the same people who we talked about last time? That's to be determined.
Yeah, well, no, I think it is. I think we kind of threw Humperdinck in there just because we figured he would. Probably still the case. Bastion and I think Stuart's studying, right? And then Juliet is too.
I think it said Dr. Humperdinck is studying our translation as we translate it.
I think Aloysia and Jang are taking a pass.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, because as I study this book, and especially if we get to the point where we have the opportunity to learn some of these so-called spells, I think I'd like to find out from Mr. Tor what he thinks of these spells and what they're all about, and any suggestions that he may have as to what might be useful and what might just be pure foolhardiness.
So he's like, well, you have a list.
You have the names of them, right?
I do.
Yeah, do you have a list? He says, do you have a list of the spells?
Yes, well, one of them I'm a little perplexed about is this binding spell. It relates to some sort of magic to bind things or beings. I'm not quite sure yet.
Well, the binding spells are very useful to control those specific entities. Go to the page. It's 263, I think.
Well, maybe I misheard you, Lee, because I think the first spell I have listed here is just binding.
Okay, so let me reread the spells for you.
Okay. I think I'll have all the other ones.
Well, the first one is black binding.
Black binding. Okay. That's what
Okay.
First one. And the other binding spells are summon, bind, lesser air elemental, summon, bind, children of the earth.
Black binding. Well, that sounds even more repellent. Yeah, I have call,
Or
dismiss.
like something we might need to bind.
Yeah. I also have call, dismiss, Nyogtha, contact lesser ghoul, resurrection, shriveling, summon, bind, lesser air elemental, summon, bind, children of the earth, call, Mordigian, and consecrate repository. That's what I have.
So can these ghouls be reasoned with at all, or is that completely unfruitful?
You asking Tor?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, they can be reasoned with to some degree.
Well, I'll tell you, those ghouls that we encountered underneath Bruner's house did not seem very reasonable. They were just coming at us tooth and claw.
It sounds like they were under the
murderous beasts.
It sounds like they were under the sway of Brunner. I mean, obviously, they were involved in A lot of times when you encounter these creatures out in the wild, we'll say, if you were in some random graveyard, their primary purpose is to basically, right? They do have some sort of actual culture amongst them. It is a little unusual to find them, kind of in the situation that you did. They're under this, they're under the sway of this leader.
They have a culture, so there are a lot of these things.
There are, and the Mordigian, that's their god. That's their charnel god. That us from this world into the dreamlands. That's where they worship him.
Juliet finishes off her glass of wine and pours another. And prompts Mr. Tor to light her cigarette.
I do. Mr. Tor does.
Zhang asks him how he knows.
Well, we've been dealing with various artifacts and archaeological sites for many, many years, and we've seen these types of tomes in the past, and we've run into these types of situations before. First cult group we've encountered while we've been conducting business.
Mr. Tor, do any of you, Mr. Chang or yourself, do we know what this thing was that we saw in Martin's Beach? What was that thing?
I believe it was a hunting horror.
Oh, that's right. He told us this already.
It's a powerful creature.
I probably willfully forgot about what he told us before.
Yeah, it's a powerful creature that a black sorcerer, a dark sorcerer would call to go destroy its enemies. Very, very powerful creature. You guys were lucky you had a way to escape.
Do we have the means to create more of these magic
frightful.
boxes? Yes, it was frightful.
Actually, we're working on creating another box right now.
Yeah.
My goal is to have a box created that you can take with you.
Yes, that's kind of what I had in mind. And you're right, Shang. I've been the last two nights. I've had nothing but nightmares about what happened to us. I certainly do not wish to encounter another one of those things, ever. Are we safe here, Mr. Tor?
Are absolutely safe.
So out.
Yang says, I'm sure there will be none of those in Morocco.
Yeah, Tor laughs. He's like,
Oh,
yeah,
God.
Nothing like that in Morocco.
Yeah, you're probably correct. But if we're able to
So it'll be fine, Juliet.
if we're able to make the chest, at least you may have a way to escape.
Yeah, ha 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 ha. And everybody, yeah, just joke about the cosmic horror surrounding us.
You say, okay, so Black Binding is the first spell?
Obviously, Juliet has a very cynical view of everything that's going on here. Yeah, Black Binding.
So Tor says he's actually familiar with that particular spell, and that actually allows you to create a zombie.
Like Living Dead?
Living Dead, but it does take a lot of, and it can definitely be very damaging to the mind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I assume that call
Living
or dismiss Nyagtha is no different?
Yeah, that's different.
What is Or who is Nyagtha, Mr. Tor?
I'm not familiar with that entity, but I'm sure it's something hideous.
I'm sure.
Any of these spells that are call spells, unless you actually know the entity, if you can identify the entity, don't even contemplate.
Well, according to the text, it does have some indication that there is a way to dismiss these entities too, so that's encouraging at least. Might be a worthwhile endeavor in case we ever encounter this Nyagtha, whatever it is.
I mean, yeah, I think if you can take the name and do some research and actually identify, but yeah, the dismiss part of it is those are very important. Again, pretty magic. You don't want to call something you can't put down.
Yeah, that's good advice. What about contact lesser ghoul? Does this just allow us to call or communicate with them?
Would, yeah, you could actually attempt to cast a spell. If you do it successfully, you'll be able to call one, and you could attempt to communicate with it.
I feel it could be a source of information.
Possibly, you might be able to bribe it. You might be able to coerce it.
Yeah, because like Mr. X says here, he asks if they're reasonable, and I suppose they could be under some circumstances.
Yeah, they could be. I mean, an individual ghoul that's not associated with this particular cult.
All right, so we just pay a visit to the local graveyard and see what happens, right? Basically.
I mean, that's an option. Absolutely.
Okay.
It could turn out good.
And resurrection seems well, self-identifying, but are we to believe that this resurrection spell brings people back from the dead?
It does.
I'm assuming so.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It does say in the text that sometimes they don't come back quite right.
But you have to have a complete corpse.
Oh.
You don't want to be dealing with an incomplete corpse.
Well, that makes sense. I suppose that could also be useful.
It is, but again, it definitely damaging to the mind, both to the caster and to the individual being resurrected.
How would you feel about being resurrected, Mr. X?
Zhang's just shaking his head back and forth.
Guys, can we take a little break?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break. I'll be right back.
This can't be happening, he's thinking to himself.
I know. Juliet's kind of the same way. She's almost like cynical to the point of just being like, I just don't believe any of this shit. And what you're saying is just crazy shit. But she's coming around.
But we stepped through the chest.
I know. We stepped through the chest and encountered the horror.
Yeah, you saw the hunting horror, man. You saw it. You saw.
Yep, she saw the dismembering of Bruner, all that. She's still not quite there yet, though. Maybe she just needs to go a little crazy first.
All right, I'll be back in a minute, guys.
All right,
we probably all had to sit on the veranda for a few days to understand how we're in Italy.
Yeah,
be able to just wrap your mind around.
Yeah, just kind of stare out at the
how
sea.
You're in Italy.
Yes.
Magic chest, huh? Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, she was pretty sure it was a dream. That whole warehouse thing.
To take with us. That's.
I know.
That's interesting.
No, she was thinking the whole warehouse thing was just a dream at some point, but a few days have passed now, so it definitely wasn't a dream. So she is coming around. Yeah, that contact lesser ghoul, Harry, that might be worth pursuing.
I don't know. You think? What are we going to learn from those things?
I don't know.
I would imagine they seem like mindless dogs the way they attacked us.
I know, that's kind of how I felt about it. But if he's saying they can be reasonable and they have a culture, maybe we could glean some information from them if we had to. Or some sort of services, I don't know. I guess we'll find out more when we actually learn the spell, or try to learn it.
What spell?
I'm talking about Contact Lesser Ghoul. So far, that seems the most likely that I would try to pursue. I mean, shriveling, yeah, but it's just I think that's a pretty quick way to go crazy, shriveling people. Could be a lot of fun though. Get to a certain point. All right, yeah, I'm gonna take a break too here, just for a couple minutes.
Well, we know that these people know all these spells, right? And they were able to teach it to one another within a couple of days.
Yeah, I definitely think that could be inferred. So some of these dudes we encounter are gonna be, they're gonna be messing us up big time with some.
You do think, and like, how long? I mean, is this the only tome they have?
No.
Are these the only spells they know?
No, probably not.
So,
I mean, if the GM,
Zhang's just got this frightened 1,000-yard stare, thinking about that there's other books with other spells.
Yeah. I mean, shriveling. Just the description of that is just horrifying. I'd much rather be shot than shriveled. I'll tell you that.
I think so. If you have to choose.
I have to agree with that. It's a harsh choice, but yeah.
It's my quote of the night.
So what else?
I'd rather be shot than shriveled.
What else is in there? What's on the list?
Well, the next would be shriveling. Which also is pretty self-descriptive.
Right.
Needs no description, I think. Then there's summon, bind, lesser air elemental.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, was that like a genie or something? Or something much, much more malign.
Right,
I guess there's only one way to find out. And then there's summon, bind, children of the earth. It's rather mysterious. Any insight into that, Mr. Tor? Children of the earth? Aren't we all children of the earth?
I'm not familiar with that.
Of course you're not.
I haven't seen that before. Interesting.
All right, so we'll delegate that to Tom.
Children of the earth.
Hell, it might be worth learning just to find out what happens when you cast it. Right?
Yeah.
This is Pulp, so. Then call Mordigian. We know Mordigian is the deity of these ghoul creatures. Which, in my mind right now, is just out of the question. That's a big no. I'm just going to put no next to it.
Yeah.
No.
Yep, no. And then there's also the very mysterious Consecrate Repository, which I said right away I do not like the sound of that. Any idea on that, Mr. Tor?
It would seem to be related. It's definitely something that's related to this Mordigian. It looks like some type of spell or ritual that's integral into their worship of this god of decay and death.
Decay and death. Thank you. Let me make a note of that.
Yeah, it would seem like it's that these skeletons you found sized or engraved. Maybe it's probably that's right. Repository. That's like a set of scenes.
That is a brilliant deduction, Mr. Tor.
It would seem like this is some sort of ritual to consecrate these bones.
Of course, you would need a dead person first.
To offer them up to this god. You know, maybe that's what was going on.
Well, so we found that those patterns on the bones of
Some of their victims, I think.
Of Brunner.
Oh, did
Oh,
we?
there were none on.
No, okay.
Not on Brunner, but there were they were on the bones you guys found in the funeral home. They were on the bones you found down there in the lower area.
Right. Okay. And regarding this Latin manuscript, there is some indication, Mr. Tor, that it also contains a spell called Voorish Sign. You know anything about that?
That's actually a pretty useful spell. I mean, that would actually help you uncover or see an invisible entity, but it also allows you to. It gives you a little better chance when you're casting spells.
I see. That's something else to consider.
That's a useful spell. Someone's going to be attempting to cast something. You can use that to increase the chance of its success.
And I hate to be presumptuous, Mr. Tor, but are there any spells that you may know or that Mr. Chang may know that you could teach us? And I coyly sip my wine as I kind of bat my eyelashes at him.
Let me go through some of my journals.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll mention that to Chang too. Possible.
So has Juliet suspended her disbelief now, or
she's getting there.
She's trying to see how serious they really are about this.
She's just thinking I just feel like we're going to get this feeling of helplessness going up against these guys with steel and bullets. That's all I'm thinking.
Tor says, personally, he's like, it's like I've been involved in, this business as far as, collecting archaeological artifacts and these types of situations every once in a while. We don't use any kind of magic. Unless it's an item, right? Like for the Voorish Sign, and there's certain spells you can use, but I would this is just me
with discretion.
Yeah, not everybody in the organization feels the same way.
Well,
there can be severe consequences, basically insanity.
Yeah, I think you could put me into that category, Mr. Tor.
Of course, just off out of gameplay, the great thing about Pulp is you can use luck to mitigate sanity loss.
Yeah. Right.
So that allows you to play a little bit more.
Yeah, but sanity remains fragile, though.
It does. I mean, it's still the same thing. I mean, if lose that much and you can't mitigate it, you will go indefinitely insane. Right?
Yeah, or even temporarily insane can be catastrophic.
Depending on the situation, sure.
Yeah.
So, and Mr. Tor says, and believe it or not, good old hacking and slashing and shooting does work. You do have to be smart, though.
Well, that's very encouraging, Mr. Tor. Right, Chang? Chang? Are you with us, Chang?
staring out into space.
He's trying to figure out what the motivations of these other organizations are.
The cults or the people that are aware of this stuff?
These societies of ghouls and this other gang, other
Yeah, the Ravelati.
mob gang.
Yeah. Well, it's the same old story, right? Like world domination and destruction, probably.
They're evil.
Are Nazis.
Yep.
It's bad to begin with.
Yep, but anyone associated with them are Nazis. Guilt by association. They all have
Mr.
to
Tor
be
says,
dealt
I
with.
have no love for fascists. No. Fascists.
Big meeting in Morocco, huh? Well, well, well.
Yeah. That's the indication that after she's done with this safari, Morocco, and then apparently there's going to be a meeting. Have that address of that import-export company, and that's apparently where she stopped. So that'll
That's
definitely be
in Morocco, in Tangiers, right?
Is yep. So I would go ahead and
Other
have
item
you-
located will contact.
Yeah, I can only presume like they haven't tried to interrogate Sophia Becker yet, because
What do
they're
you suppose
kind of
would
depending
be the
on.
first item? Assuming that
could it be the book? Maybe it's something we're not aware of. Tor says.
it doesn't necessarily have to be something from Boston or whatever beach we were at.
Yeah, correct. It could be, and they located in North Africa. It could be the book. You know, maybe the first item's the book.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, I'm just assuming you guys haven't finished studying it. You're like in the middle of it, right?
Yeah.
There could be additional information. Tor says, you know, once you fully comprehend this text, hidden, you know, that, you know, we
Sure.
may find out, right?
Yeah, like vital or critical information. Yeah.
Yeah. There could, you know, you guys are still deep within your study.
How long does it take to read the book?
Take about 5 months, 4.5 if you just, you know, you're animals about it. That should be about right.
And that's the time to comprehend the book. Is that right?
Yeah, it's about 22 weeks to actually fully
The
comprehend
first
the book.
stage. Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, you know, roll your sanity losses, and if you can learn some of these spells.
Yeah, there's some pretty deep shit in that book.
So Tor says there
So
very well may be more information that will illuminate us on what's going on here once you guys finish comprehending this tome.
Was that the full list of what there's, Sean?
Of the spells?
Yeah.
I believe so, yep.
Okay.
That's the ones you guys have found after the first, you know, perusal.
Right, the first reading.
Yeah, I'm just going to put a mark on the ones that I might be interested in, or that I think might be helpful. Put some little stars next to them. The summon bind ones might be worth staying away from for the summon aspect of them, but they could be useful in the binding aspect of them. Except for Niogtha in my mind, because I feel that if we encountered Niogtha, that it really wouldn't matter anyway. Again, I'm very cynical.
Going by the picture in the text.
Right, the description of Niogtha. The thing in the pit, yeah. Okay. The thing that should not be. I'll skip that chapter.
We leaf through those pages quickly.
And maybe shriveling. That might be somebody's cup of tea. Not sure if it's mine yet.
And bind lesser air elemental.
Yeah. Could be useful. Boorish sign.
I want someone in the party to have Vorish sign so they can help the insane spellcaster. Whoever that is.
Well, I know that across the board, everybody has a pretty high intelligence. I don't know how that relates to power in general, but my power's okay. 65.
That's good.
I'm no wizard if I got to that point, but it does take kind of a pretty good intelligence and a pretty good power. Maybe we can find Carl Stanford's
so Zhang's
cane.
situation is just the opposite of yours, probably. He's got an intelligence of 60, but his power is 95.
Ah. 60 is still pretty good, though. So I think that's the role you need to learn the spell or to learn the book, and you can always use luck on those rolls, too. So it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But yeah, Zhang, dude, you are centered like a Zen master.
And you also have that psychometry, too.
Yeah.
The Vorish sign is also rumored to temporarily ward against Mythos monsters.
Hey guys, low key, 2 hours late. Sorry.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, bro?
Fashionably late. Love it.
Yep. Sorry. One of my friends was over. I totally forgot it was Cthulhu night. I thought it was Wednesday.
It's all good, man. We were just doing some some skill stuff and it's all been prep.
It's all
Gotcha.
very cash, man.
Yeah.
No monsters tonight.
Cool. Okay. Okay.
Yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that you showed up, I don't know.
I think horror
One
comes
might pop out of a book.
Yeah, right. But no, we're sitting down having a discussion with Mr. Tor about just kind of big picture stuff.
Okay.
And he's telling us a little bit about these spells that we found in the book, The Cultus Ghoules, and what he knows about them. Which turns out to be very little, but and then he was telling us about also this woman. Remember the lady that we followed to the plane that was going to Morocco? It was Bruner's assistant.
Fia Becker.
Vaguely.
She was the lady that Aloysia wants to shoot really badly.
Okay.
She had this is the same lady that had a house right next to Bruner, right? She was kind of like Bruner's assistant. But we found out that she there's some kind of big meeting in 6 months in Morocco between Sophia Becker, we found out her real name apparently, and some of these other damn Nazi cultist bastards. They're meeting in Morocco in 6 months. And in the meantime, she's on safari in South Africa, and she's being tracked by Tor's men. We also found out a little bit about the Ravolati family, these freaking Italian goons that attacked us in Massachusetts. They are Italian mobsters. They operate out of southern Italy and New York. He seems to think they're just acting as muscle for these cultists. We can probably expect to run into some more of these Ravalati guys.
Or spits on the ground when you say their name. Yes.
Well, that should just become a habit for all of us. Yeah.
Skill checks is 1d10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, definitely did not. Okay.
So do you have any? So earlier on, Tor had asked everybody if they had any. Do you have any hand-to-hand skills? He can bless a weapon for you.
Oh.
So do you have any brawl skill?
Absolutely. Actually, my fight brawl is an 85.
So
and I have 2 bayonets that I would love to have blessed. At least one.
Yeah, he'll take one. He'll actually he's got to make one for you because it either needs to be in silver or iron.
Okay.
He'll return an iron bayonet and it's blessed, and he tells you that it'll actually affect creatures.
Good to know.
And since you guys are here for a little while, are you studying the cult of Ghoules?
At your own risk.
Are you studying the tome, or are you not studying the tome?
Me? Yeah, I'll look into the tome a little bit.
Okay, so you're studying the tome. All right, so you can pick one skill that you can work on. Pick any skill and roll to see if you fail it, and you can increase it. So if you weren't studying, you'd be able to do 2 skills, but since you're studying, you can only do 1.
Okay. Trying to think what might come in handy. What roles have we had to make that have been like the lower ones?
So far, I think it's been more or less standard kind of stuff. Spot hidden, listen, stealth.
Firearms.
Harry's character Zhang was
Breaking
learning
locks.
breaking locks, yeah. Although none of us have locksmith.
I do have a 40 in locksmith.
Nobody can drive.
There you go.
It looks like it'd
there
be
you go.
lovely dive.
There you go. You could try to do locksmith. That's a good one.
Yeah, I'll try locksmith.
Yeah, we filled in that critical blank
that
with
didn't work.
Jeff.
There we go. Well, I have a 40 in locksmith, so it's not terrible, but it needs to be higher for sure.
We're always,
of course, the skill check is when I roll hard. Wonderful.
Of course.
we were always having to get that PI stamps to pick locks for us up until now.
So this blessed bayonet, does it function just like a standard bayonet? Still 1d6 plus 1 plus damage bonus?
It does, yeah, but it's
Okay.
blessed. Just note that it's blessed and what weapon it's on.
I'll put it on one of my Mac 10s.
That's epic.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you want to tell him about the new payment.
Oh yeah. So he asked us like what fair payment would be to continue on working for the Tor organization. And I told him that he was generous so far and just whatever he thinks would be appropriate should be fine. I suggested that Shang ask for $1 million. Didn't. But he's agreed to pay us 50 grand now.
$100,000.
And another 50 grand when it's done.
It's actually 100,000.
Yeah, it was 100,000
Oh.
now, and
Well,
and
that's
later.
even better.
Oh,
Yeah, double the first fee.
not bad.
I'm running out of space in my satchel.
So again, with that 100,000, he'll deposit it in any bank or give it to you in cash or gold or gems or whatever you want. Ammo, whatever you want.
Okay. And this takes effect immediately. He just pulls out his
Okay.
duffel bag full of cash.
Yeah. He's whatever you want. You can call his friend Credit Suisse and have it deposited into your accounts immediately, or he can give you cash or whatever you want.
I wonder how the gold prices inflate. Let's see.
Oh, dude, don't even. Holy crap.
Get 100,000 or 200,000 in gold and just let it sit for the next 10 years, and all of a sudden.
Well, keep in mind the world could end next year too, so.
Yeah, that too.
But I mean, if you want it in gold, he can have that deposited into a safety deposit box at Credit Suisse for you in Zurich.
That does seem most prudent. Or just carry it around with our Cthulhu kit.
Or diamonds or whatever, man. Here, he can give you $100,000 worth of diamonds you can keep in your back, just a little container of diamonds.
So low key from 1970 to 1980, gold prices skyrocket.
Of course.
Yeah, they tripled or more, didn't they?
Yeah, they're so hold on, let me do a little mental math here. It's like what? So like 230-ish. So what is 2,000 divided by 230? It's like 10.
Wow. Well, just keep in mind though, Stuart, there is probably about a 50% chance that the Fourth Reich is going to destroy the world. So
yeah, that's very true.
I'm
case
being conservative.
Money, but
right.
The Germans do like gold.
That's true.
Yeah, it's an 8.7 times increase. That's insane.
Damn,
Dear God.
$100,000. I can buy a lot of ninja suits and flashbang grenades.
100 grand in 1970 that's some serious loot, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That's some serious loot. I mean, what was a gallon of gas? 50 cents?
Probably, yep.
Like that?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I don't know. Or at least before the OPEC nightmare.
No, I think you could buy a new Corvette in 1970 for like $6,000 or something like that. All right. Well, I've already got 50,000 cash in my bag. I'm thinking diamonds might be the way to go here for me.
So he gives you a little piece of parchment paper and put it up. You open it up. There's 7 amazing diamonds in there, man.
Oh, wow. Awkward moment of silence when she sees that.
She's gonna have some earrings made.
It says diamonds are great. You can sell them anywhere and you can transport them easily.
Yeah, they're light, valuable, and my goodness, perfectly cut.
They are too, man. They're beautiful, brilliant.
Family heirlooms.
Way to go.
I think Sebastian got emeralds. Isn't that what he got the last time?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, okay, here you go.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right, I'm just gonna, because I don't know, bank accounts and all that, that's fine, but just thinking that shit is gonna get rough here. I'm not even sure.
Right.
It's nice to have it on you, right? I mean, you
It
never
is.
know what a bribe you might be able to save your ass.
I must say we are being well taken care of by Mr. Tor here.
Trying to think of how much it's a risk carrying too much at all at once, because if you lose something, you could lose all of it.
Well, yeah, if we lose Sebastian with his unlimited line of credit.
Sure.
Yeah, but he says, if you want 50% of it, I can give you 50 grand in cash or diamonds, and I can deposit the other 50, or however you want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, we're just flush with cash right now, so
So I'll do what do you call it? Jeff will do 25 grand in cash, and he gives him an account number for some obscure bank in some obscure country to store the rest of it in.
Canary Islands.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and he says, of course, because of my association with Credit Suisse, for you there under your name. They have a branch in the Canary Islands.
Perfect.
There you go. So yeah, so you can do the 25 grand cash and then the other in Credit Suisse account.
So something just occurred to me, Lee, and this has never occurred to me while playing this game. So essentially, some of us went from becoming sort of, having average incomes or having average wealth. Some of us just became immensely wealthy. How would this affect our credit rating? Or would it?
Yeah, it would absolutely. You know what I mean? If you're putting it into a bank account,
Mm-hmm.
it would affect your credit rating.
Yeah, because
Probably.
with credit rating in 7th edition, it's just a little bit different.
I'll have to think. I'll have to contemplate a little bit about how much your credit rating would increase.
Yeah.
Depending on how much money you actually have in the bank. Right.
Yeah, because it says credit rating is not so much a skill as a gauge of financial wealth and should not be ticked as other skills are. Call of Cthulhu is not a game that requires money to be carefully tracked. However, it's useful to know the bounds of an investigator's financial reach. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. An investigator's credit rating can change over time. Investigators of the Call of Cthulhu mythos are prone to insanity, and this may lead to a loss of employment and thus a lowering of the credit rating score. See credit rating and investigator's expenditure.
That's why a will is a really good idea.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yep.
yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
So that's why a will is a really good idea. Even if you're gonna, bequeath it all to your secondary character.
Yeah.
My good friend.
Yeah,
Good
and that,
friend Francois Dubois gets all my.
right. Yeah, that is something I thought of that I'd like to do. Is just have maybe one of Mr. Tor's lawyers write up a will for me. And I'll,
Absolutely.
and I'll parse out some stuff to my family. Like I have a sister, I think, in California and whatever. I'll parse out some of that, but most of it, I guess we could divvy out between some of these guys. I guess I don't know. I have to think about it a little bit.
Yeah, think about it. But a will is definitely not a bad idea. I'll let you will it to your secondary character. You guys are friends. I'll be right back, okay? I gotta deal with this dog.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
It says when an investigator comes into money, they should check to see if their assets are equal to those of a higher living standard bracket. If this is the case, the player should increase their investigator's credit rating in steps of 1d10 until their credit rating is within the new bracket. So for the 1970s, that would fall under modern. So yeah, I think we all just became wealthy, guys. Congratulations.
Woohoo! Looking forward to that Huey.
Hueys.
Yeah.
Well, I always got to have a backup Huey.
Oh, of course.
We got some cargo planes. All that kind of stuff.
Zhang is just completely filled with disbelief that he has this much money.
Yeah, maybe find an old surplus B-17 bomber.
Oh, I'm sure I could get my hands on one. If we've got the money, I know all the right people.
I'll
true.
take your word for it.
Cooler. What happened to the old man?
He is in bed because he spent 4 hours on the phone with people who don't know how to do their jobs. So
Oh my god, dude, that's awful.
He's been all afternoon. So he's pissed off and asleep. Like he's
So he's been busy delegating.
yeah, he's just
But-
yeah.
So it's been a fun afternoon of putting his foot up people's ass via the phone.
Pretty much. Yeah, he's in a wonderful mood right now.
Good. Well, I've had those conference calls before. Actually, I don't really get a lot of that at the library. In my current position, not a lot of craziness.
So the rules say, Lee, if you become suddenly wealthy, you just look at the cash and assets bracket that you would go into and roll a D10
Okay.
however many times it takes to put yourself into that bracket. But the table's kind of weird because it shows average for modern day assets are between 10,000 and 49,000. And then it skips to wealthy, it skips up to 500,000 in assets. So it tells me like maybe mid 40s or so would be where we would be, something like that.
That sounds right.
I think my score was already 60 or something.
Yeah, so you're already rich.
Yeah, mine's already. Yeah, I've already got.
That's why you had that
Tons.
account already.
Right, exactly.
Or
Yeah, 65.
account.
Right.
Yeah.
Shang,
Right, exactly.
how do you want your money, Shang? Do you want it in your bank account or do you want it in cash? Or?
I think so the $100,000 that they're going to give him ahead of time, he'll just take that in diamonds, I guess. That sounds like an interesting way to go.
So yeah, so he does the same thing. He provides you a little folded piece of parchment paper, and you open it up, and there's like 7 in there. I think I'll probably wait to roll for the effects of the tome, guys, until everybody's here.
Got you.
You know, because I know, we know who's studying. And again, I just kind of threw Humperdick in there. I assume he would be studying it.
That would be a Humperdick move. He would probably
Right.
be studying that.
Oh, he
Yeah.
would.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him the chance to opt out, but next time we play, you guys actually get to move into North Africa. We'll do all the Cult of Ghoul as far as the effects for everybody who's studying it, and then you guys can pick the spells that you want to learn or attempt to learn, and we'll go through all that.
Yeah, so how long do we think we're going to be staying here in Mr. Tor's paradise?
You think probably at least 4.5 months.
Perfect.
To actually study, and again, since they're not coming back to, she's not going to be back to Tangier until, for 6 months. You figure you guys have enough time to. If anybody goes crazy or anything awful happens, you probably actually have enough time to probably pick up a couple new party members.
Yeah, well, that's going to happen. So remember that old Iron Maiden song, Die With Your Boots On? In our case, it's going to be Die With Your Diamonds On.
Yeah.
Got a
Well,
freaking
Mr. Tor-
fortune of fine gems.
So Mr. Tor also, and he set you guys down, and he's like, have you guys ever been to Morocco?
Never.
ever been to Morocco? Currently,
I don't know.
We
There's some chance that Zhang been
okay, yeah,
as part of his touring, but I don't know.
Absolutely.
Maybe not.
I've been to the airport.
he lets you know that he does actually the import export business does have really close ties with the Moroccan government. There's actually a military junta that's in charge of Morocco.
Hmm.
So here's the thing, when you initially travel there, weapons go, weapons and pistols, you're going to be able to take connections.
Good.
And then normally that wouldn't be possible. Military grade weapons, that's not going to be possible.
Hmm.
At least initially, if situation where you guys get to go in country, we'll say,
Mm-hmm.
right outside of the cities, possible that we might be able to get your military weapons to you.
Okay.
Right? But initially, it's just going to be pistols and hand.
Lovely.
So keep that in mind. Normally, that wouldn't even be possible as a foreign national. Normally you wouldn't be able to carry weapons, but I can get you the proper paperwork to allow you to do that. Employees of our import-export company.
Yeah, whatever you can
Okay.
do, whatever you can do along those lines. Yeah, for sure.
Any kind of full automatic weapons, submachine guns, machine guns, that stuff. Point maybe we'll be able to deliver that stuff to you if you're going to be deep in country. When you arrive in Morocco, it's just going to be hand-to-hand weapons and pistols.
Juliet looks at the others and says, "Sebastian will not be happy."
Yeah, Jeff isn't pleased at the idea of going anywhere without his submachine guns.
Like I said, submachine gun skill works as pistol skill.
Right.
Pistol skill works as submachine gun skill. So,
I've got a pistol.
take a look at the pistols and make sure you're picking the hunt for the initial trip to Morocco.
Yeah, I imagine these heavy weapons will become somewhat worthless at some point anyway.
So,
Get down and dirty.
Yeah, it's possible. Again, depending on where you guys are in Morocco, the cities are heavily patrolled and controlled quite effectively by the government, but main city centers, it's pretty much bandit rules in Morocco.
Yeah.
There's rebels, there's tribal issues, so if you find it, your travels take you out into the wilds, we'll be able to airdrop you.
Yeah, supply drop.
your weapons, right? Or whatever else you might need. But as far as like operating in the cities, military presence, and there's a heavy police presence. But again, I can provide you with the documents you need. Even give you some. I can give you some police contacts in Tangiers.
Perfect.
I deal with pretty regularly. So you guys should be okay there.
Yeah, that would help smooth over any problems we may have.
Now, again, it may. You guys, you know how it is. It's all about the money. So there may be some bribery needed. Track of that, and I'll reimburse you for it.
Yeah, we'll put Sebastian in charge of the bribery part.
Yeah. So, is there anything you guys want to do other than, the studying of the tome and, your skill checks? Is there anything else you want to do during this half-month period? You can suggest it, and I'll let you know if it's feasible.
definitely look into calling the right people to get my hands on a Huey.
Okay, so you're looking to try to acquire a Huey in Morocco?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Well, I mean, if we want to, if we get the Huey here, we can just fly it down. Fly it back and forth. Technically, if we take the Huey, if we fly ourselves to Morocco, then we can just leave all our military grade stuff in the Huey and park it out, out of the line of sight of the government.
Yeah, the problem is getting caught with it, though, if we're in an urban area.
Sure.
Yeah, and again, I mean, flying into any kind of airport there, you'd probably expect some kind of customs check.
Yeah, I could park it out in the jungle somewhere.
Could definitely try that. I mean, that's an option if you want to try to fly it in somewhere outside of Tangiers.
Yeah, we just fly in like the air cav.
Right.
Yeah, with
Right, 'cause
Wagner, with Wagner playing.
we could still get all the paperwork and everything. We could still, we could still leave the stuff that would get us in trouble. We could still leave it in the Huey, but it'd be better to know that we have it.
Well, it is Morocco in 1970. So again, the military is heavily involved. Um,
In running the country.
yeah, and you guys are foreigners.
I wonder, I just had an idea. I wonder if Mr. Tor, and I'm not going to ask him this, but I'm just going to share my idea. I wonder if Mr. Tor could provide us with like some sort of like assistant, or I don't know, kind of like an orderly or something like that. Someone who we could use to guard our shit primarily, or just help make travel arrangements or communications. Just have somebody as backup who's kind of out of the picture most of the time, but kind of knows what's going on and could keep in constant contact with Tor and Chang. Just in case something bad happens. Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm talking about, like a translator kind of dude. And just somebody who's kind of out of the picture, so in case something really bad happens to us all or shit gets ugly, we would have some kind of way to communicate with Tor, or somebody who we could rely on with information and stuff like that.
Good idea.
Like a liaison kind of a thing. But yeah, that is a good idea, like a translator. What do they speak in Tangiers nowadays?
Well, it's probably
French.
it's probably Arabic, and there's probably some Farsi spoken there too.
Okay.
As well as Uzbek. There's probably probably Arabic is your primary, but then Farsi is probably right behind that.
All right, well, Doc speaks Arabic.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Humperdinck speaks Arabic fluently.
But do you mention this to Tor?
Yeah, I will. I'll ask him if maybe we could set up some sort of liaison or assistant to come along with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me who's available. But I probably can find you someone who's fluent in Arabic and in the area. We do quite a bit of work in Northern Africa, so we have a decent relationship with the government and the military there.
Yeah, even if it's somebody in the government or the military, that would be fine too. Just someone we can trust.
It's like, yeah, I think probably, because of the sensitive type of information and situations that you guys are going to be in, it probably should be someone from our organization.
Yeah,
definitely.
So let me send out some feelers and see who's available.
Jeff deals in firearms and like antique, archaeological finds. He probably knows some people who, do his acquiring in the area.
Well, you probably actually have done a lot of selling.
Right.
People in North Africa.
Fencing, more like it.
You've probably done, you've probably sold quite a bit of high grade military equipment and and various stuff like that to people in North Africa.
Right.
A couple
Yeah,
crates of
people with,
M16s only been dropped once.
Right. People with very expensive artifacts that come out of the ground, they don't know what they're worth, so they're willing to trade them for the guns.
Ah.
Yeah, that's definitely possible if you're a smuggler, and
Yeah, that's why
people
I
definitely
have.
want.
That's why I have that appraisal and archaeology, because I deal with artifacts.
Smuggling mummies, eh?
Exactly. Yes.
That's a pretty cool. It's like it's like
Raiders of the Lost Ark style.
Yeah.
It's like they used to do here. They used to smuggle the pot down to Florida and exchange that for cocaine and bring it back to Kentucky. And so there you're like,
exactly,
the weapons for the artifacts, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, all very above board.
Because the Moroccan government, if I provide the right people with the right weapons, more than happy to let me go with whatever artifacts I need.
Well, you might be dealing, instead of dealing with the Moroccan government, you might be dealing with
the
like
rebels.
some of the tribal groups and some of the smuggling groups and buying them weapons more than the government per se.
That's all very good. It's good to have connections.
You're attempting to acquire a Huey. Is that correct?
That's the plan. I think a Huey might be in order. It might be something handy.
Get it here, or are you trying to get it in Morocco?
Well, that's the question. Do we want to get one here and fly it down to Morocco and maybe hide it out in the woods somewhere? Or do we want to just get it in Morocco and fly it back?
I don't know. We just want to get it.
Right. Well, that's the other thing, too, is, depending on what continent we are, if we ever end up back in America, we might have a problem.
Well, imagine 1970s. They're still in production. They're just pumping them out.
True. Could get one for each continent. Hide it out in the jungle.
Be a matter of just finding a U.S. military base with some crooked officers or whatever. I don't know. Whatever your connections would be. Have to have some connection to the U.S. military, though.
Oh, dude, money speaks to everybody. Generals, politicians.
Tor says, you definitely could having a helicopter like that in country if you were, working with an import-export group or doing an archaeological study, in the desert or something like that. But I wouldn't recommend you loading it up with heavy weapons.
Most interesting way to do it would be go to a military base, impersonate an army colonel, and tell your supply officer to send that Huey off to Morocco. Something like that.
Probably happen.
I mean, shit.
Possible.
Make a mission out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Blackmail an army colonel.
But of course,
or something.
you could just have Sebastian buy it directly from Roman.
That would leave a paper trail, though.
Have him deliver it, right to Tangiers in a big container.
Not necessarily. We just whack the guy we get it from.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Just saying.
says the former CIA officer.
Yeah, that's just standard operating procedures.
Gentlemen, well, I think
the wet works.
I think I'll probably call it.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I will think about my will.
And do you guys? Is there anything else you guys want to do tonight as far as prep, or are you feeling good? I think next time when we log on, we'll actually do the effects of it.
Should
do the effects of the tome, and we'll talk to
Jeff
everybody else
about procuring concealable body armor and weapons that we can get away with in Morocco for the party, or is that something everybody already has?
Well, we've got the weapons. It's just a matter of Well, I mean, I think it's clear that Mr. Tor is saying that we're not going to have access to those when we first arrive in Tangiers, and we'll have
Right.
to work out some kind of way to hook up.
Yeah, but pistols and soft body armor, yeah. I mean, that's all stuff you guys should try to acquire for sure.
I mean, I imagine getting to Morocco, doing some primary investigation stuff, and then going out to that warehouse out, where the Arabs are, and opening up that warehouse, and inside is the Huey and all of our shit.
Yeah,
Something
sounds
like
good.
that. Our liaison or whoever Tor can pick up, for us, take care of
Yeah,
that
he
stuff
says.
for us.
He says, yeah, your liaison should be here in a couple days. Amen.
All right. Oh, and did we give Stuart a chance to roll to learn some skills, or are you studying the book?
Yes. I'm studying, and I rolled for locksmith, but made
Oh,
it with
you
a
did.
hard success. So.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I rolled too. I rolled for climb and made it both times.
You guys are just too good.
I know. Better than we
Josh.
thought. Yeah. Better than we thought. All right.
Guys, well,
Good game. I look forward to the next.
yeah. Next time we'll hopefully everybody will show up and we'll get into some nitty gritty. But that was good prep for everyone. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, enjoy the rest of the night. Good game, guys.
All right, man. See you
Take
all
care,
next time.
Thanks, everybody. Have a
Good night. See you, Harry. See you,
Bye-bye.
Stuart. Bye, Lee.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for playing, guys.
Good stuff.
Playing. All right, guys.
Good night.